If you have a backup plan, you have already lost. That safety net you spent years carefully building is exactly why you will fail. Biologically, the human brain hates ambiguity. It is wired to seek a clear path forward, and it actively panics when faced with the unknown or the prospect of public failure. This diagram shows the psychological mechanism that keeps you average. Psychologists call it the internal saboteur. That central node is your ultimate goal, but the heavy lines holding it back are your escape routes. Your brain creates this internal voice to constantly judge you and demand you tamp down your ambitions to protect yourself. As soon as a project becomes difficult, those escape routes become irresistible. Having a fallback plan gives you built-in permission to quit. When things get tough, the tethers snap back, pulling you into a static routine so you never have to face the sting of true defeat. Comfort becomes a cage. If your brain knows it can slip out the back door, it will never dedicate absolute primal energy to the fight. You will only give 90%. Relying on willpower is a losing game. To reach the top 1% of performers, you have to manufacture a crisis. You must willingly sever every single one of your escape routes. In the year 711 AD, an Islamic invasion force crossed the Mediterranean and landed on the coastal shores of Iberia. They were led by a military commander named Tariq ibn Ziyad, who brought a highly trained elite unit of fighters. The stakes were brutally clear. Tariq had 12,000 men fighting entirely on foot. Waiting for them on foreign soil was a heavily armed Visigoth army of 100,000 men. Facing a mathematically impossible battle, Tariq did not draft a retreat strategy. Instead, he ordered his men to take torches to their own ships and ignite the entire naval fleet. He gathered his soldiers as the wood burned and delivered a chilling ultimatum. The sea is behind you, and the enemy is in front of you. Your only choices now are victory or death. By destroying his own transport home, Tariq eradicated any anxiety about losing. He forced his men into a mental state where survival was the only option, replacing hesitation with absolute ferocity. Now, Arab scholars and European historians still argue over the literal facts of this landing. Many claim the burning of the ships is a myth, constructed centuries later to explain how a massive Visigoth army collapsed so quickly. But whether it is a historical fact or a literary invention, the legend survived because the psychological theory underneath it is flawless. It perfectly illustrates the work of behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman and his research on prospect theory. This graph illustrates the core principle of loss aversion. Notice how the curve drops sharply on the negative side. This proves that human beings are hardwired to fight infinitely harder to avoid a guaranteed loss, like dying on a beach, than we are to secure a potential gain, like a new conquest. Burning the ships actively exploits this hardwiring. When the baseline shifts so that losing means total destruction, it triggers a violent reevaluation of the environment. The brain is forced out of a passive state and upward into aggressive action. This strategy works the act of retreating. It overrides human hesitation by making survival and victory the same objective. Look at your own life. Your ships are the comfortable corporate job you tolerate, the fallback college degree you keep on your resume, or the emergency savings account you tap into when you feel lazy. These safety nets act as anchors, tethering your focus to a lower threshold and ensuring you remain within a manageable, predictable environment. In his study of power dynamics, author Robert Greene notes that to completely crush an enemy, or in this case, your own internal weakness, you have to force yourself into the unknown with an absolute, uncompromising deadline. When absolute risk is forced upon you, a physiological transformation occurs. Adrenaline floods your system. As your focus narrows to a single objective, the brain enters a state of total commitment, concentrating its creative resources on the task until the deadline is met. Stop preparing for failure. Cancel your backup plans. If you want to achieve something massive, you must willingly throw yourself to the sharks. When you remove every alternative, your brain has no choice but to find the path through the enemy. You make victory the only logical conclusion by making retreat impossible.